Witness, starring Vincent Price. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's Key Witness, a brand new program that tests your powers of observation while it entertains. Do you get all the facts in a story? More important, do you get them right? Well, here's the man who'll help you find out, the star of stage, screen, and television, Vincent Price.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You know, I'm really kind of excited tonight because I think we've hit on an idea that is truly different. It's called Key Witness. Now, most of us pride ourselves on our powers of observation, and we often wonder how two different people can witness the same event and yet come up with entirely different versions of it. Well, tonight we're going to try and answer that question for you. You're going to see a dramatic film in which I play one of the parts. And after each act, I am going to ask questions of members of the audience as to what they thought they heard and saw. Now, this wouldn't be television unless there were prizes, so here is Reed Browning to tell you about them. Reed, if you please.
Thank you, Vincent. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's really quite simple. We're going to select 8 members of our studio audience at random. And they're going to come up here on our stage, and they'll see the same film that we do on this big screen right here behind me. But we're going to ask each one of them a question. The amount of the prize that they'll receive will depend on how difficult we think the question is. If the contestant answers correctly, he gets a chance at the jackpot question at the end of our show. If he's wrong, the money goes into our jackpot, which tonight starts at $200. So keep your eyes and ears open as Key Witness presents Vincent Price and Marie Windsor in Tall, Dark, and Handsome.
Good afternoon, sir.
Scotch and soda.
How much is my husband paying you?
I beg your pardon?
You've obviously been following me.
Obviously. How very unsubtle. Thanks. I'll admit I've been admiring you.
You still haven't answered my question. Are you working for my husband?
In a manner of speaking, yeah.
So you're a private eye. You're not at all the type I'd pictured.
Naturally, or I shouldn't have been assigned to the case. The Collier Detective Agency takes pride in its casting.
And why did my husband hire you to follow me?
He thinks you've been making time with a tall, dark stranger.
Dear, dear. How wrong he is.
You love him?
That's beside the point. There is no tall, dark stranger.
Short, blonde stranger?
No strangers.
Let's have another drink.
Why?
I'll explain it to you at a later date.
All right.
That is, if we can have another date.
Why not?
We had that later date, and it wasn't the last one. It was the first one of the most dynamic tailspin a man ever went into. She was coming here tonight, to my apartment, in less than an hour.
Are you happy?
Are you?
You know, this is the first time I've ever been to a man's apartment alone.
Where did your husband get all this misinformation?
Out of his little evil mind. When he hired you to follow me, it put the idea in my head. And I'm sorry he didn't do it sooner. Look what I've been missing.
To think we owe all this happiness to your husband. There is, however, a small, dark cloud on the horizon.
Well, order it away, and don't worry about anything.
This can end.
We just mustn't let it end.
Darling, let's get lost somewhere, huh?
I'm a married woman.
Do you have to stay married? Or do you?
Yes. Are you going to force me to tell you
What?
how bad I am?
Are you bad?
Being poor is bad. I was raised poorer than I like to think about. I don't know how I survived. I really don't.
Darling.
That's one thing I never forgot, Paul. I promised myself I'd never go hungry again as long as I lived.
That doesn't make you bad.
It made me marry Arthur for his money. And it'll make me stay with him till he dies.
I thought you loved me.
I'm glad you don't know how much I love you. I keep you awake nights.
Well, then how can you go on talking about staying married to an old man until he's dead?
I'm talking about $2 million. I'm only 25. He could die before I'm old, couldn't he?
What?
Well, he could. He could die tomorrow.
How?
Don't you know? Think of it.
Adrian, don't talk like that. Divorce him. We'll go away together. Forget about the money. I'll make it up to you.
No, Paul, I've made up my mind. This is the only way for us. Otherwise,
Otherwise what?
I'll stay with him and his millions. This much I know.
What kind of a decision are you asking me to make?
The same kind I'm faced with. Heaven or hell on earth.
Somehow I've never thought of myself in this situation. It's always been the other fellow. Murder. I've got to think.
Think of it as best you can, Paul. Think and let your decision depend on how deep your love is. How deep is your love, Paul?
I looked at the calendar next morning. Days since I'd taken on Arthur P. Phelan as a client. Objective? Trailing his wife. Now I had a new objective. Murdering my client. Why not? Where would I ever get another crack at $2 million? I like nice things. This tie. These ruby cufflinks. Little gifts from my client's wife. She's in love with me. I hadn't exactly figured on marriage, but, well, get your hands on the dough first. You can work out the rest later. Murder. You've seen guys beat a murder rap. Besides, who could frame a perfect murder better than you? Crime is your business.
Well, darling?
I've got the plan.
You have?
Yes. You have your own car?
Mm-hmm, the one we drive around in. Arthur gave it to me for my birthday.
Well, that was thoughtful of him. You know Forsyth Road, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know where it meets Granger Turnpike?
It's a pretty desolate part of the country.
It's all the better for our side. There's a little deserted house just off the side road. Park there at 9:45 tonight.
For how long?
Till I get there.
You mean you intend to do it tonight?
Why wait? Adrian, you remember how we met?
You were trying to catch me with a tall, dark stranger.
Right. That's who they're going to suspect.
Who?
The tall, dark stranger.